Have you been feeling like your costs are getting a little bit high? Maybe your profitability is not quite where you were wanting it to be. Are you feeling constrained by maybe just capacity? Like, I am really busy in my business and I can't take on any more work. Does any of this sound like you? Or maybe do you just not feel like you have the room in your business financially to do what you really want to do? Well, if any of this is sounding like it's ringing a bell, or like you're kind of raising your hand going, yeah, that kind of sounds like me, or kind of how I'm feeling, this video is for you. It is all about raising prices. And is it time for you to raise prices in your business? Well, welcome back to the Clara CFO Group channel. Today is about raising your prices. So I'm not going to tell you you need to raise your prices, but this video is going to have you considering whether or not you should, or what are the indicators that might be telling you it's good for you to look at your pricing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And remember, this channel is all about helping you be more successful and more profitable in your small business. So that's what this content is all about. That's why I am here. I am here to help you in that process. And I'm really excited to talk about this topic in particular today. So if this kind of stuff is helpful to you, please make sure you leave a like. Please also leave any questions in the comments section below, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can get this in a timely manner. All right. Well, let's go ahead and just chat about pricing. So this video is being recorded at the end of the year. And what the conversations that I'm having with some of my clients right now is we're talking about pricing adjustments and pricing changes in the new year. So I just want to start to say, like, this is a natural time to be thinking about raising your prices. So the end of the year comes around and there's newness. There's newness in a new year. Everybody's excited. People are hopeful. There's lots of changes that are happening in a new year. And this is the perfect time to think about your pricing at this point in time too. The first reason is that people are expecting it to a certain extent. They might not be expecting you to change your prices, but people are expecting change in a new year. So this is a really great time to talk to customers about it, talk to clients, to make a notification, or just to make a change naturally. And, depending on the business, you might announce it in a certain way, and then other things you won't announce it. You'll just change the prices. You don't have to, make a big stink about it. It's just something that happens. The other reason this is a really good time to talk about raising prices is because you have a year of data, or almost a full year of data, of financial data, to look at to make your decisions. Hopefully by now you have a full set of financials almost for the full year. So you should have January through November already done. And then at that point, you can go and you can look at your numbers and say, hey, am I profitable enough? What's happening? Hopefully you're planning for the next year and you're trying to look at what money do I really need to make in order to achieve the profit that I need. If you aren't doing that already, I do have a profit planning workshop that I will link in the description box below, because these are the questions you need to be asking now to help plan for profitability in the future. But hopefully you're looking at this stuff and you're able to say, and are my prices really where they need to be, or do I need to make an adjustment? So prices also need to be looked at least annually. So for service-based businesses, annual is pretty standard, especially in like consulting, things like that. You would go and look at your rates every single year. But for product businesses, you might be considering it potentially more often. So for example, Starbucks typically raises their prices every single quarter. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. I mean, it kind of makes sense considering that a cup of coffee that used to be, less than $2 is now $2.70. So I get it, right? Okay, so if Starbucks can do it, they don't tell people that they're raising their prices, they just do it. And, they do that because of rising costs. They have extremely high overhead. But if Starbucks does it regularly, I think it's a good indicator that a lot of us should be kind of looking at our prices on a regular basis. This is a lot of time, you should look at your prices kind of depending on how often your churn is. So if you're going through inventory really quickly, or you're having to buy new inventory really quickly, you might want to constantly be considering your pricing, just because what you bought a product at 2 years ago might be really different than the price you're paying now. So make sure you're not just keeping the pricing steady if you have increasing costs. Okay, so definitely look at this pricing over and over again and see if it's at the right level for your business. So the other reason that right now is a really good time to look at your pricing is that we've all had rising costs. The pandemic has brought rising prices to pretty much almost everything. So a lot of your raw goods, anything that's consumable, has probably been had an increase in pricing. Labor has had a price increase, even like what you're needing to pay a minimum wage worker even to come on board now. A lot of you are having to offer signing bonuses and things like that that you never had to do before. So please keep in mind the fact that most of us have incurred rising costs in this time. All right. So yes, some of you might have cut back your expenses because you were, going through like austerity measures in order to get through, through tough times, but your individual costs have probably risen for the exact same good that you purchased a year or 2 years ago. All right. So please keep that in mind and please take that into consideration when you're looking at potentially establishing new pricing. So another few indicators that I want you to keep in mind that might tell you that you definitely need to change your prices. Okay. So the first thing is, are you really, 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 really busy? Are you running around like with your hair on fire because so many people want to work with you if you're a service-based business? Or are you just selling like crazy if you're in a product-based business? These are indicators that maybe you could raise your prices, okay? Because if demand is really, really high, the way to kind of offset some of that is to raise your prices. Demand will kind of naturally pull back. This is like basic economics. But then also, you could potentially still be doing the same amount of work and getting more revenue for that work. Okay. So this is a really good time to be saying to yourself, if you are in high demand, it probably means it's time to raise your prices. All right. Service-based businesses are some of the ones that I see having the hardest time with this because you're worried about the fact that you worked with so-and-so and you only charged them $2,000, but now you really feel like the price should be $4,000 for the service. Keep in mind that every time you deliver a service, you are getting better and better and better and better and better at it. So I think we really need to kind of challenge ourselves sometimes and say, can I really raise my prices? Usually the answer is yes. All right. So if you're very busy, that's one big key indicator. The next thing that would be an indicator is that, again, if you're really busy, you're working your butt off and you don't see the profit, you don't see the bottom line really moving, that would indicate to me that your costs are too high for the work that you're doing. So you probably need to change your pricing. So yes, you could be in really high demand and you probably need to raise your prices, but maybe your profit's still there, so that's not a problem. But then if you're really, really working hard and you don't have profit to show for it, you guys, that is a very clear indicator that your pricing is off. All right, so keep that in mind. And again, I'm going to tell you guys again, the profit planning workshop is all about that. So if you want to grab that, it is in the description box below. Get yourself a copy. It's been really helpful for a lot of people. There's also a worksheet that goes along with that. So definitely check it out. This is another indicator that I've actually told people this, and I have had other people tell me this and tell this to my customers. If you are having customers or clients telling you that your prices are too low, you need to look at your pricing. Yes, people will say this. They'll go, wow, that's so cheap, or wow, that's so affordable. If you're hearing anything like that, that is a very good indicator that you need to assess your pricing. I'm not telling you it needs to go up. It might be just fine for you, but if people are telling you that, you might want to think about raising your prices. Okay? Just going to tell you. So like I mentioned earlier, another indicator that you need to look at your pricing is that if your costs have gone up. So if you are noticing that your vendor costs are going up, that people are charging you more for the same things that you were purchasing, you really need to relook at your pricing and make sure that your profitability is still there. Okay, maybe you've already made an adjustment for an increased cost of goods. That's great. So this would still be a time that you could naturally look at your prices and see if you need to make any changes. The other thing that's happened to some of us during COVID is that our overhead costs have gone up. So maybe what you were able to do before, maybe you were able to sublease some of your space, but now you can't sublease that space, or you were able to offset some type of expense with some type of revenue that you don't have anymore, that would mean that your overhead, just the cost layer to operate the business, is technically higher than it used to be. So whether that's rising rents, rising utilities, whatever that could be. But if your overhead has gone up in 2021, you do need to consider your pricing again. All right. So these are the kind of things that should just be triggers in your mind to say, yeah, okay, some of that stuff has happened to me. Maybe I need to go look at my pricing. All right. So that's what this video is about. It's just to say, hey, red flag, we might want to look at pricing. You might need to be, figuring out how to increase profitability, and pricing is absolutely one of those levers that you can pull that will help you increase your profits in your business. All right. Give me any questions that you have about pricing, raising prices. Let's have a discussion in the comment section below. I would love that. Remember that I mostly focus on the comments in the first 24 hours of the video. So definitely watch and leave your comments right away. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you being here, and happy holidays and happy raising prices days. All right. Bye.